Okay, I just hit record. Let me make sure. It looks like it's recording. Awesome. So let's dive in. I'm just going to go over a couple of things here in this PowerPoint before we kind of get a little bit deeper into the program. So this just kind of gives you an overview of what's included in Active Classroom. You guys will be getting this for grades 6 through 12, correct, Ruben? Or did you guys do 5 through 12?
6 through 12.
6 through 12. Okay, awesome. So you guys will have access to the full program. You'll have access to all of the content in here. And you're going to find that there are more resources in this program than you could ever use in a school year, which is nice because then you can change it up each year and break things up and change as you go. So I think you guys are really going to like the way we approach differentiation and, just kind of giving you guys lots of different options to work with. And I'm going to show you a lot of ways that you can search and find things very quickly and easily. We have it structured for you in curriculum maps that are already built into the program. So if you are a little bit nervous about using technology and you're more along the lines of, hey, I like the textbook because I can follow it, chapter by chapter, we have curriculum maps that outline for you guys and suggest activities by unit, and they're in order. So it's nice that way. But if you are just one of those people that likes to go out and find things, you can access the entire database of over 4,500 different activities. So it says here it's a structured yet flexible digital learning program platform built to foster student inquiry. Social Studies School Service, we're very much about inquiry-driven learning. Not everything in Active Classroom is inquiry-based, but the vast majority of it is, because we want students to do the heavy lifting and to do the heavy thinking. So you're going to see that as we go through. And there's just some different things listed here: interactive activities, assessments, primary source analysis, current events, close reading, mapping activities, and simulations. So all of your courses, and you may be surprised to see some of these on here, all of your courses for Texas are in Active Classroom. We have world cultures, Texas history, U.S. history to 1877, the second half of U.S. history, obviously, in 9th through 12th. And then we even have psychology, sociology, African-American, and Mexican-American studies. So all of those courses are covered in here. We have several large clients and mid and small clients all throughout Texas. So we are very committed. I'm a former Texas history teacher myself. So I've really pushed and driven a lot of the new Texas history content that's been able to come into the program and, I don't write it, but I make recommendations on what needs to be in there. And I've even given them some recent gaps to fill as well, things that I think, we do have the standards covered in there for Texas history, but I want more activities like primary source activities, and you're going to see some crime scene investigations and stuff like that. A lot of really neat types of things in here. So it's very structured, and I guess it didn't insert state. So your Texas edition has your curriculum maps, but you can also search by the TEKS, and I'll show you guys how we can do all of that when we get a little bit further in here. Different ways to differentiate. So you'll see all of these icons. I want you to pay attention to these because these are going to be important later on. As I kind of explain everything that's available to you. You can search by icon. So if you wanted to find a video on, the American Revolution, you could search videos in American Revolution and find those. Different things like that. So there's all these different icons. You'll notice that they're all labeled, and we'll come back to this a little bit later on. But this allows you to differentiate beyond reading level. Yes, we have different reading levels in here. There are all different types of series, different authors. One thing that I think is so critical for social studies is that you have different perspectives, because history, one perspective, it doesn't answer everything. History has multiple views on things, or historians. You can put 10 historians in one room and they can all come up with different answers and substantiate and back their claims up with facts, right? So that's the great thing about history, but it's also the challenging thing about history because there's not always one right answer. We have wonderful things in here, relevant activities that have new current event types of things. This is from the digital mapping that's going to be included with what you guys are getting. Current events. We have all kinds of current events that come out every month. Things to spark critical thinking. Love this lesson here on press in America, how free should it be? And it's really much, that kind of inquiry-based lesson where the kids are looking at some different information and coming to their own conclusions about how free the American press really should be. It's a flexible technology solution. So if you're fully digital, you can deliver it in a fully digital world, but you can also print. About 95% of the activities in Active Classroom can be printed. Actually, probably 90, because if you count videos and things like that, you can't really print those. But you can deliver things digitally, but you can also do where you're modeling. So you're at the front of the classroom showing something on your screen, and your students have maybe some print handouts or something like that at their desks. Or if they have devices, it works that way too. And it works anywhere that students have access to the internet. Flexible technology solution, you can assign things digitally to students, you can create, you can even customize activities, you can build in quizzes. The district can push out district assessments through Active Classroom. So there's a lot of things like that. And that new quiz platform is just recent this year, and we're looking at doing some expansion to that and really making it so you can drill down and really look at standards and things like that down the road. You can enlarge visual primary sources. There's a little magnifying tool. There's text to speech. You can translate into about 30 different languages. Just a lot of really, really cool tools. So we're going to go take a look. I'm going to post this link into the chat box here. But before we do that, I want to share with you over here at this screen. So you guys are going to be doing, I believe you're going to be doing rostering. You guys use Clever or ClassLink?
Clever.
Clever. Okay. So I think we're going to be doing rostering with one roster, and then your kids will be able to access with Clever. And are you guys, remind me, are you guys using Canvas, Schoology, Google Classroom?
Canvas.
Canvas. Okay. So we're currently in the process of expanding. We already integrate somewhat with Canvas, but the plan is we just rolled out Google Classroom integration with full access to the gradebook. We're planning to do the same with Canvas and Schoology here in the next few months. Hopefully before the fall, those will be live.
You said that was full grade pass back?
Yes, that's our plan. Is we're working on doing that with Canvas and Schoology as well. So those are not quite available yet, but we do have current integration where you can embed lessons into Canvas directly. But we're working on that deeper integration that really has that grading, pass back or whatever you said there, is where it communicates with our gradebook. So before you guys go in as my students, I do want to show you just a couple of items here before you guys explore as my students. So right here, you see the curriculum maps. This is what I was talking about, where if you are not really wanting to go and search and find things, we're going to have these curriculum maps in the Corpus Christi account. So you'll have all of your subject areas, and these are based on the TEKS for each grade level. So if we look at the US history to 1877, you can see it has detailed notes, even the TEK being addressed that day, teaching notes, and activities listed out day by day for you. And then at the bottom, notice it has a suggestion for additional activities. So that's right there on your homepage. Only the teachers can see that. And that's more of like a table of contents for you, the teacher, if you wanted to find. Now, these are just activities that we've curated. So we looked at your TEKs and said, okay, these activities best address those TEKs. Here's how you do it. And we give you suggestions. If you want to go that way, you can go that way. You can also use our database and search for activities right here. And we'll explore that a little bit later. But before we do, I want to show you the two ancillary pieces that you guys are going to be getting. So you're going to be getting access to all of the Nystrom atlases. And you'll notice, and this is something you should really pay attention to very carefully here. At the top of the screen, it tells you have to share the atlases with your students in order for them to see them. So I'm going to show you by example here. I'm going to add this one. So I'm going to add this right here, and I'm going to hit share. And now you guys, when you guys get in my class, you're going to have that. I just set up this class, so I didn't have a chance to add these to you yet. So this is just a nice reminder here. You only have to do this one time to share this with your students. Once you do, your class, as long as you share it with the whole class. Oops, did I add the class? I did not. Once you add the class over there and you share it, then your students will always have access to it. So you have to make sure you add the class. You saw what I just did there. And this is the only time you have to really do this. and it's just for the atlases right here, but I want you guys to be able to see those atlases before we go. So these are the Nystrom atlases, the flip books, and as these get updated, they will update in the system, like this Atlas of World History. This is our brand new edition, just came out last year. It's awesome. This is the desk atlas that was revised in 2018. We're probably going to have, the borders have either been updated in 2020 or they will be this year. And same thing with the World Atlas. Those ones, since they're current atlases, we try to keep the borders and things like that, all the statistics updated every couple of years. But then we did a full revamp of the actual atlas in 2018. And then our Texas History Atlas, which is brand new. I fought for that now for 14 years, and we finally got it last year. So super thrilled about that. And I think you guys are really going to like it. They put a lot of hard work into it, and it looks really nice, and it's very easy for the kids to follow along with. There's even something in there about celebrating Freedom Week, which is kind of cool that's now integrated. Another ancillary over here are your digital maps. I'm just going to touch on these real quickly just to show you some of the functionality of it. You're actually going to experience how these maps are utilized within the platform in a lesson itself. So the Maps tab right here, this is kind of like a free drawing tool. So this allows you to change and put on all different kinds of maps, like history maps. I'm going to use just a political relief map. You can add in all kinds of information like the countries, the physical features, cities, borders, references, all of those things can be added in. Another really cool thing, this is great for like a world geography or world cultures classroom. There's this little eye over here in the top right-hand corner, the second icon down. When you click on that, it's going to allow you to click on a country. Like if I click on Syria and then I click on more information, it's going to connect to the CIA fact book so the kids can actually do research about the history, the geography, people in society, government, economics, even communications and things like that, all within the platform. So that's a really neat tool that's been added in. There are a lot more things that go along with those maps. There's a toolbar at the bottom that allows you to add in pictures, videos, and text. But again, that's kind of an ancillary that's added into your subscription. This is kind of the upgraded portion, which Ruben was fortunate enough to be able to get for you guys. So now I'm going to show you guys the activities before I turn you loose to be my students here for a minute. And I just want to quickly touch on a couple of items here when you're searching. So there are a few different ways to search. You can search up here. I'm going to search for common sense, and it pulls up all of the activities relating to that pamphlet, common sense. You notice we got about 15 or 20 of those. That's one way to search keyword. You can also use the standard search right here. So I can go to my 8th grade standards, 8th grade standards, and I can select, you guys won't have to do this. It automatically defaults to Texas, but I'm going to do state standards and hit update. There are all of my TEKs. Now, if I want to find a keyword in my TEKs, I know that common sense is no longer in the TEKs, but Thomas Paine is. And so I just typed in Paine right here, and right there is the TEK for Thomas Paine. So we see down here, we've got this many activities here. When we click on this button here, this may narrow it down a little bit more, or it may expand it. It looks like it narrowed it down just to a few. So now everything in here is related to Thomas Paine because his name was in this search for the TEK. And then this box up here, I put the words common sense in. So this actually at the top narrows it down even further because, you know, you look at these TEKs and you might be looking for something on Crispus Attucks. Well, maybe you want to find something very specific, the Boston Massacre. Obviously, probably if you did a keyword search in Crispus Attucks, you'd have the Boston Massacre. But if you wanted to narrow something down, you can do that right here. So that is just a quick overview of how to search by keyword, by TEKs. And then over here, the advanced button. Remember I mentioned to you guys earlier those icons? So you can search by activity type. That's one way to do it. Then there's another one right here that says series title. Let me show you what I mean by scrolling down a little bit. You see how this says acting history plays after the icon? Acting history plays, the first grouping of words immediately after the icon, represent the series title. So those are the two things you need to remember, is the icon and the grouping of words before the grouping of words immediately after the icon. So series title, you can search right here, and I heard zombie-based geography was popular. So you can go down here and you can pull up all of the zombie-based geography. And you just hit this little search button. Let me make sure that's good. There we go. And it pulls up the 10 different units. And each of these units is broken into multiple lessons. So you'll find that it's common with a lot of different series in Active Classroom. All right, so now I'm going to go over to the chat box and I'm going to post a link in there for you guys. And so I just, let's see, just drop that link in there. And I'm also going to show you guys on my end what that link does. So if you guys want to watch my screen for just a minute, when you click on that link here after you watch what I do, it says student registration. It should take you to that link. I want you to use just your first name, last name, you can just put an initial or whatever, and then just use your first name at your lastname.com or last initial. It doesn't really matter. This is just a temporary, I'm going to be deleting these. So you don't use a real email. You do have to confirm it. So it has to match at i.com. Give yourself a password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 works. And then right here, you select your class. This is the most important step right here. You're going to select Corpus Christi, agree to terms, and register. And then you'll become a student in my class. All right, so I'm going to give everybody a moment to do that. And I'm going to give you guys, how about 2 minutes? So till 4:50. And then I'm going to come back and check and make sure everybody's in. If you're struggling with something, you can unmute or you can message me in the chat box there. Okay, does anybody struggling? Is it not working? Or is everybody able to get in? Let me look back at you guys here. Give me a thumbs up in just a second. Whoop, why can't I can't see you guys. Well, for some reason it won't show me. There we go. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. I see thumbs up. Good. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, is anybody stuck? Need help? All right, so if you guys would come back to my screen for just a minute, and I'm going to go over what I would like you guys to do, because I'm going to turn you loose for about 20 minutes to just do some exploration and just kind of getting yourself familiar with what the student view looks like, and kind of moving around, navigating, looking at some of the different types of lessons, what's available to you guys, just through what I've assigned to you. So your students only see what you assign to them. And so you can see here, I've already gone through and assigned everybody the atlases. That's why I did that at the beginning. So there are the 5 atlases that I gave to you guys. You guys watch me do that. So just remember that you have to do that one time, just at the beginning of the school year, to assign it to your classes. All right. And then you also have those maps that we looked at earlier. So the kids have access to the atlases that you assigned to them and the maps. And then we have our assignments and grades over here, but you can also see the recent activities. These are all of the different activities that I've assigned to you. And if we go over to assignments and grades, and you'll notice there's a discussion forum that's going to come into play in one of the assignments that I gave you guys. But if you go to the assignments and grades, this is, again, you are my students now. Notice that it has the name of the assignment, and then it has instructions. I've given you guys instructions, some just notes and things like that about what it is you're going to be looking at. But you'll see that when you launch into the lesson. So if you guys watch my screen for just one more minute, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to take us into this To Tell the Truth Plays Sacagawea. All right. And so notice it gives me some instructions here. It says role-playing simulations, use the text-to-speech button to read aloud and translate into 30 different languages. So that's the box. Any instructions that you give, the students will have to actively click away from it or click off of it in order to ignore you. So I'm having trouble getting in. Yes, do not use your regular email. Simply use, Roger, just use your first name at lastname.com. It doesn't have to be a real email address. This is just for this one here. So if you would just go ahead and use a fake email. We're not using our real Corpus Christi emails because some of you may have already signed up for the trial. Okay, so just going back to this, the instructions pop up. So whenever you type instructions into something, when you assign it to students, this box pulls up and they have to exit out. And I call it actively ignore you. So they have to actively ignore the teacher in order to move into the assignment. So if they forget what the instructions were, the icons on the top right walk them back through that. So there it is. There are the instructions, the first button. Second button, if we hover over top of this, it says to attach files. The third button is the assignment forum. So this is the discussion forum. You're not going to see it on this assignment to use this, but on one of the future assignments you're going to be kind of jumping through, it's going to ask you to go to the assignment forum. So take a look at that once you get there. The next item here, this will be the add annotations. It's a highlighter button. You're going to have to use this in one of the activities that I assigned to you. So it kind of gives you a little bit of practice with it. You as a teacher can set custom highlights. So you can set the highlights to say anything you want, which is kind of nice. So if your students are studying the Civil War and they're doing a reading, maybe you want them to highlight advantages of the North and advantages of the South in 2 different colors. You could change those titles of those colors to represent those things, and the kids could be marking up the text that way. I really think it's super important to give students reading with a purpose. So this is a great way to do so, where the kids are focused and drill down, what am I trying to get out of this reading? My teacher told me to look for these things. And so I know as I'm looking through, that's what I'm thinking about as I'm going. And then there's the text-to-speech button next to the printer. And so the text-to-speech button, the default is Spanish. If you highlight something here and hit the world button, it's going to translate it into Spanish. You can change that by clicking on the gear setting over here, but you guys can just play around with that as you go. All right, so now I guess I talked a little bit longer than I wanted to. But I'm going to turn you guys loose. It is 4:55, so let's come back about 5:10 together. And I want you guys to just explore, look at each one of these assignments that I gave you, just check it out, hit the launch button, play around with it, answer a couple of questions. I would like you guys to all submit and turn in this Atlas Level 2, the Vietnam War era ends. So once you get to this one, even if you just guess, it says level 2, higher order thinking required. Even if you just guess and you drop, drag and drop these things in here and do all those things, and you click next and go through all of them here, you answer these right here, you're answering, responding, click next, go through here, add a couple of these. And then once you're done with that, turn in the assignment. And the reason I'm going to want you to do that is because I want to grade the assignment. So I talked another minute longer, so I'm going to give you guys until 5:11. So go ahead and begin. Go there to the assignments and grades and start working through the activities, kind of checking them out. And I'll be here to answer any questions you guys have if you get stuck on anything. All right, go ahead. So Lisa asked if you can see the students working in real time. Yes and no. So if the students have, as they're working through, you can actually launch it from the student view. And if the students are highlighting and annotating, you can give the students feedback. So as they're annotating, it'll show up in there. You just have to refresh the page. And the students are annotating in there, and you can give them feedback directly, and they'll actually get a little notification bell that you've given them feedback. So. How do you change the language? If you click on the little gear looking button, it's a little gear. Click on that and it allows you to change the language. It says translate, and you click on the translate, and then it gives you about 30 different options. Oh, okay, so the question came up, you still hear it in English. Yes, so you have to use the little globe button. You highlight something that you're reading. Let me show you. I'm gonna grab this one here. So if you want to come back to my screen, if you want to see how to do this, you click on the little speaker button, you highlight the text that you want translated, you click on the globe, and it translates over here into Spanish. And then you have to click the play button in the translation box to hear it read in Spanish.
Esta actividad se basa.
So that's how you would do that. And to change the language, you click on the gear, translations, and change it. If you wanted to look at it in Haitian, you could look at it in Haitian. This. That one does not read to you in Haitian. Okay, let's see. I've got some more questions popping in here. Okay, cool. Like I said, I'll just keep monitoring that chat box. If you're still on the Sacagawea one, I recommend jumping out and hopping to a different activity. I've given you guys quite a variety in there. And if you want to just look by your content area, I tried to cover most of the content areas in here. And some of the assignments that I gave you guys, I actually customized. They might be a little bit longer or more in depth, and I cut out certain parts of it. That's a cool thing I'll show you guys once we come back together and I show you from the teacher view that you can, with most of the assignments, you can chop them down and assign just pieces of them. Like if you just wanted a certain document. Make sure when you're in there too, if you get to a lesson that has multiple pages to it, you look on the left-hand side, there'll sometimes be a bar, and that is like your table of contents. So you can click through each one of those on the left-hand side. If you want to see an example, I can show you on my screen here with this Jamestown versus Plymouth. So you see over here on the left-hand side, there's the history group, there's the civics group. So this is like your table of contents on the left. And that's a really involved lesson, but it's awesome, really rigorous. It's really thought-provoking for the kids. Okay, if you've only gotten through like 2 activities, you might want to hop onto a third one. If you guys don't mind, try to do that one that says Vietnam War era, or Vietnam War ends in era level 2. You can turn in the level 1 if you want to, but the level 2 is the one I want you guys to turn in so I can show you what it looks like in the grade book. And actually, I can go back to my teacher and I can see who's doing what. So let me go in and take a look from my side. I can see if anybody's turned it in yet. Oh, Natasha's already completed. Ruben's already turned something in. Julie's turned something in. Al's turned something in. Cool. So I can look at my assignments and grades, and I can go down here and grade this one. I can see that Alex and Michael and Julie have already turned it in. So you can see the completed assignments when they turn them in. What you can see, there is a launch button where you can actually launch, so we can test that out. Let me see here, chat. That was from Becky. So Becky, if you can type me in the chat for me what assignment you're working on, and tell me, answer a couple of questions in there, and we'll take a look at it. And then if you can, use the highlighter tool and highlight some things, and I'll show you what I mean by being able to monitor students working. Yes, students can always go back and they don't have to turn it in right away. And if a student accidentally turns something in before they finish it, you can easily give them a new attempt. It's very, very easy. Working with Atlas number 2 assignment. Okay, so that one I don't think I'm going to be able to see, but I'm going to try it. So Becky Rodriguez, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to launch the assignment instead of grade it. And then I should be able to see. Let me find Becky R. Let's see if I can see where you are. Yeah, it's not letting me with these. Oh, wait, there it goes. Maybe it is going to show me. Looks like I'm getting a little bit of slowdown. The students do not see the grades immediately unless you, oh yeah, so your answers are in there already. Cool, so I do see your answers in there. So yes, it looks like I can see as you're working. I thought you had to wait to turn them in, so that's cool. Thank you for sharing, teaching me something new. I knew that you could respond to them with the annotations. I didn't know you could actually see their answers as they're working, so it looks like you can. So the question about do the students see the grades immediately, you have an option to allow them to see their score immediately, but it gives them all of the correct answers. So you have to be very strategic in how you do that, because kids often Snapchat and text each other and send things from. So if you give them all the correct answers, they can share that with all their friends very quickly and easily. So just be aware of that. But they don't see the grades until you publish them, or if you turn on the button that allows them to see it. All right, looks like got some more questions here. Sorry, I just had somebody ask me about something. Can you push out different versions of the same assignment? Yes, you can. So you can create groups within Active Classroom. That's something I'm going to show you in a little bit, where you can do different pieces of the assignment, assign out different times to different groups of people. Do you see the notification when a student turns in the assignment? Yes, you do. So like right here, if I refresh this page, let me refresh this. And there we go. I can see that Roger's just turned this one in. And so you get notifications here, but you also see the little email box, this little notice right here. And you can delete all right here. You can mark selected. That's red, delete selected. So you can do that with it. But anytime you refresh the page or go back to the main screen, like now I see that Candace has turned in her assignment. All right. If you've not gotten super far through the lessons, just try to kind of click on and get a gist for each one of the activities. And I'll talk about, kind of give you guys an overview of those in a little bit more detail when we come back together here in 2 minutes. All right. So we've got about 1 minute left here to come back together. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give us like an extra 3 minutes. Take a break if you need to. Real quick, I've got to run to the restroom real quick and come right back. So yeah, you guys have an extra few minutes. If you need to use the restroom or anything like that, go do so. If you want to keep working and try out some of the different activities, please do. And I guess we'll come back together in about 3 to 4 minutes. Thanks.
Hey, everyone. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your day to actually attend this presentation. Once the presentation is done, probably right afterwards, I'm going to send an email to everyone who's part of this Zoom session. I'm going to just give you the link to submit your information to receive compensation for attending this online session. So just be aware that it will come like probably right afterwards in your email. Thank you. Guys, the check-in code is active, just lowercase, it's active.
All right, were there any other questions? Nope, do we have everybody back? Let's take a look here. Okay, it looks like. All right, so everybody had some time to kind of explore and try out some of these different lessons and activities. Do we have any questions before we go on into the next part of this training? Any questions or feedback or thoughts? Feel free to unmute if you'd like. Okay. Well, if you have a question along the way.
Question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
And I don't know if it'd be more directed toward you or toward Ruben. So when are we going to have to create these classes on our own, or will our rosters be uploaded to where we just pull the classes, or will we have to, I don't know, because how that really works, because we're still we have Google and we have Canvas, and then our students are obviously in our roster in Canvas, but then we also can do like Google assignments too. So is it going to be like Discovery Education where we have to pull, our students in and then create our own classes?
No, we're going to do
if all goes,
rostering for you guys. So we'll set up the rostering and the single sign-on through Clever. And if you do use Google Classroom too, kids can either log in with Google and you can integrate, lessons into Google Classroom. That's fully integrated now. But with Canvas, that's coming as well. So you'll have the gradebook integration. But yeah, we're going to set up your rosters for you. So we'll communicate with your tech department and get that rolling. And Ruben, did you already send that tech information over to me? Has our tech department been in contact with you?
I believe we already sent that information as far as what the vendor has to fill out as far as technical information. And I think that's already been sent back to us already, but I'll go ahead and just maybe confirm that.
Okay. And then per se in Canvas, I assume it'll be an external tool.
It'll be an external.
It will be listed in Canvas.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you'll have that option. Any other questions? Anybody else? No. Okay. Well, then I'm going to go through and talk about, first of all, I'm going to take a look at some of these assignments over here with you guys, some of the different ones that I gave you. And so hopefully you guys got to kind of check out and explore a lot of these, some unique ones here. These it looks like everybody did the level 2 activities. You saw a reading up here with this one, another reading for government. This particular series, We the People, has 4 different levels. There's level 0, 1, 2, and 3. The level 0 is like elementary. The level 1 is 5th grade. The level 2 is 8th grade. And the level 3 is 12th grade. So if you needed to really, let's say you had a kid that was really struggling, and let's say you're using a reading from We the People for your 8th grade classroom, you're talking about the Constitution, you could assign them all the way down to the 5th grade or even lower to like the third or 4th grade reading level with that one. Then there's the mapping. I don't know if you guys got to check these out. These are the quick writes. So this quick write actually goes with this one. Quick write, I just chose the one writing prompt that goes along with this lesson on major industries of Mexico. I don't know if you guys got a chance to get down to these ones yet, but I showed you guys that mapping or the map earlier. Well, this is utilizing those maps, but this allows students to create a historical map or a thematic map. It has all of the step-by-step instructions with embedded links to other images, to graphs, charts, different things like that. So that when this loads in here, we're going to see what it should look like from the teacher view. And I apologize, my internet, I think, is hitting a slowdown. Let's see. Well, we should see all of I'm in the student view. That's why I'm like, there's no answers on here. In the teacher view, you would actually see what this map is supposed to look like. But from the student view, you're going to have these step-by-step instructions right here. And so the kids would click through these step-by-step instructions. It has embedded little graphs, maps, charts. So this one here shows us oil distribution, major oil deposits. That one's just another map there, leading oil producers graph. So you've got these additional pieces of information in here. And so the kids will actually work through this activity. They'll use the toolbar down here at the bottom. They'll add in the little different emojis right here. And it looks like I'm getting some real big slowdown because these should populate. There we go. They're populating in now. So you could put those little different icons in here. This also allows you to put in push pins with text, videos, pictures. You can add just a text box if you wanted to type something here. You could do that. And there's just a lot of really neat things that you can do with this. There are a couple of items that I do want to just highlight with this. Whenever you're using the mapping, if you use everything auto saves for you, everything in the program auto saves, with the exception of editing and deleting within one of these map things. So this is important because I've had teachers reach out to me saying, oh, I can't figure it out. Like every time I delete something, it shows back up. That's because this doesn't allow you to autosave, and there's a reason for that. And I'll explain. So watch what happens when I hit edit. So edit, now all of my icons right here, let's say I didn't want Mexico in that spot, and I didn't want that barrel of oil in that spot. I wanted it over here. Now, if I just clicked off of it and went to something else, everything would move back to the way it was. So if I did this, see, everything just moved back. And that's because I didn't save my edits. So right here, I'm going to move this, I'm going to move this, I'm going to move this. And now I'm going to save right here. There's a little save button. I'm going to save it, and now everything stays. Same thing with delete. And that's because it's kind of like you're in edit mode at that point. So it doesn't want you to accidentally do something and then you save it and you lost your whole project. And so that's why the edit button and the delete button have that special save button. This also has a clear all with the delete. So you need to be careful with that. So like, let's say I just wanted to get rid of this one. And now I've done that. If I just click off of it, that oil barrel is going to come back. Instead, I need to hit the save button, and now it's saved. Every other time you work in anything else, everything auto saves. It's just in this mode with the editing and deleting. And it's just because once you do that, you convert from regular mode into an edit mode. And so just be aware of that. And I just wanted to show you that one little thing here. These activities are awesome. Kids love those mapping activities. There are ones for world history, for US history, both halves. Texas history has a couple of things like that. There are some good ones from the US history series that fit with Texas, but we also have a new Texas mapping series that's going to be coming out very soon. So they're going to be activities that are similar to those ones where you have the step-by-step instructions, but they'll be Texas history. Then you've got like some of these other ones here, this personal finance. This is a great one here on delayed gratifications and videos and things like that. Then I gave you guys this one on Hungry Planet Germany. I don't know if anybody got a chance to check this out. I love this for, you could either use this in a world geography or a world cultures classroom. You might need to modify it a little bit just based on the reading level. But what we're doing here in this one is we're analyzing culture based on what people eat. So we're looking at this family here in Germany, and I love showing this one. This looks like every middle school kid you've ever seen, right? The arms crossed, the pouty face. But we can see what this family eats during the course of a week. And these authors traveled the world. They found kind of average, middle of the road families in these different countries. And they asked them to put everything that they ate in the course of 1 week on their table, and they photographed them. And so you can travel and explore all these different cultures that way. This one here, I asked you guys as students to go to the discussion forum. So it says, go to the discussion forum and share one thing you noticed from this photo. So I'm going to do that right now. So to show you guys here, I noticed, oh, frozen pizza. So I'm going to go over here to, sorry, I got to move my Zoom thing, this little discussion forum right here. And I'm going to click on the topic here, and I'm going to click on make a comment. And so right here, I'm going to type in, I noticed the frozen pizza. Yum. Okay, so the kid puts that in, they submit the post, and then you, the teacher, can see all of these here. So that was from the Hungry Planet there. I just really like these activities. There's some good questions that go along with it down here below. Go ahead.
Real quick on that piece where they are annotating or they're having that discussion thread, can the other students see the thread? Like, could they bounce off each other's ideas?
They absolutely can. Yep, it's designed for, I'm going to jump back now and show you guys from the teacher side of things real quick. This allows you, the teacher, so if I go to my discussions, it creates a discussion with every single activity you do. And it'll give you notices when kids reply there. And I can see here that I already have a reply. So I can go into this one and I can go to my general discussion and I can see right here my students that are making notes, and I can reply to this kid right here. And I can say, I love pizza too. And I can submit that post, and everybody can see everybody's posts. And if a kid's misbehaving, you can delete them right like that. So it allows you to monitor that information. And it does send you notifications whenever kids post in there. So let's see if it shows right there. Yep, I think it shows over in this one here. Yep, a new reply right there. Okay, so that's a quick little overview of that. And now I realize that I'm cutting myself short on time, and I apologize. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to show you guys the grade book. So if you guys are looking at my screen, you see the assignments and grades button right here. This one allows you to launch. Launch allows you to look at it from a student perspective. The launching will allow you to look at people's annotations and give them feedback in real time. Did anybody make any annotations and highlights by chance?
I did.
You did? Okay, Al, which lesson do you remember?
The Vietnam one.
This Vietnam one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
I'll
going
just
to
play
launch
with it.
and let's take a look here and see Al. There's Al. I'm going to become Al now, so I'm going to see your assignment. Now, was it this one or was it the other one that you did the highlight? It must have been the other one that you did the highlighting in. Was it the level 1?
Yeah, it was a level 1.
Okay, that's
But,
what.
yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to level 1. I'm going to launch it then, and I'll show you what I mean here for Al. So I'm going to go down to Al, and I'll show you here. Do you remember about where you highlighted? This shows you where you left off, so I can see where you left off. Go back.
It was the beginning.
It was which one?
It was in the top slides in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, around there.
There it is. Yep. Okay, so I can see Al's annotations, and over here on the right-hand side, it shows you the annotations. And so I can click on this here, and if he wrote a note or something like that, he could write that there. But I'm just going to say, good job. And Al, you should get a little notification bell. If you go back into that assignment, you'll see a little notification bell seeing the teacher feedback. So that's one thing you can do there. And I'll go back to my grade book again. And so I'm back in my manage assignments. So launch allows you to see it from the student view and give feedback on annotations. Grading allows you to grade it. So I'm going to click on this one. Anything that's multiple choice, true and false, is automatically graded. And so this is one of my favorite things right here. When I click on this drop-down menu, I see all of my students. I can see what students have turned it in and which ones have already been graded. And so right here, if I go, I'm going to pick on you again, Al. I'm going to click on Al, and I can see he got 3 out of 15. Ooh, see what? Al, I'm going to have to give you a new attempt. So
I
right
need to go
here,
to tutorials.
yeah. So right here, I'm going to click the new attempt. And now Al, it's going to pull up everybody. And let's say I wanted to give Michael a new attempt as well. I could do that right there, but I'm just going to give Al a new attempt. And so I'm going to hit save. So Al has been given a new attempt. And so when I go back there to my grade book again, and I look at, and I go to grade this one, Al should not have the little, yeah, see, he's no longer graded right there. And so that's just a neat way to find out all those things, but you can go through with this grade book. You can actually look here, like Candace did a really good job. Congratulations, Candace. Let's see, you know what, you got these mostly right, and it only gave you half credit. So you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give you a full correct on that one because you just missed this one little one right here. So now I go back up and I can see her grade is improved to a 14 out of 15. So that's just kind of a quick overview of the gradebook. The question mark at the top right-hand side of your screen, when you're in your teacher account, this leads you to a guidebook that has right here, it has user guide. It also has video tutorials over here. And I think I gave Ruben, I may have given him access to my YouTube channel. I do a lot of, I haven't done many in a while, but I need to start doing those again. But I'll actually post this session here in my YouTube channel so that you guys can view this here later on. Are you guys hearing me okay? I'm getting a notice that my that I'm having some issues with internet. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Cool. There's the YouTube channel right there if you wanted to check. I've got a ton of videos that I've done on Active Classroom. If you click on playlists, this is a very comprehensive new to Active Classroom. It's got a lot of information. There are some things that are not going to pertain to you guys because we are going to be doing things like giving you guys rostering and single sign-on. So some of those things aren't going to be there, but I've got a ton of videos. I've got some like different series in Active Classroom. So finding activities, using it with my students, great series. And then I've just got a bunch of different ones here. I've got one, I think, on like remote teaching and handling things like that. So quite a few videos on there. Feel free to check that out. That should help you guys. I do want to show you the last thing before I run out of time here is when you assign something. So I'm going to find an activity real quick. I'm just going to go by series title, and I'm going to do, let's do one of the histories and mysteries here because I like those. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, those are cool. I love the one on the Gulag. But this one here, when I go to assign it to you, this one has, this is a crime scene investigation. So you're going to be an investigator right here, but it has several different assessments. It's got a text message alert, a front page news essay, a skit, and a criminalist theory organizer, and an essay here at the end. So there's several choices, and that's kind of nice if you want to give students like a menu of choices. Well, how do you want to be assessed? So for this one, I'm going to assign it, and I don't want my students to have that choice. So I'm going to deselect all. I want them to do the directions, the forensic report, the text message, and we're not going to do the skit, but I also want them to do the graphic organizer. So I'm going to select just those items. And right here, I'm going to select percentage instead of points. And I'm going to select custom highlights. This allows you to make those highlights in here. So for this one, this is on the Freedom Summer. So evidence. So I'm going to do that right there. And so the kids can highlight their evidence as they're reading through it. Obviously, you'd want to look at the readings first before you did that. These buttons right here, the question came up earlier, can students see the correct answers? If you click this button, they can when they're completed. Allow students to retry immediately after submitting. That's allowed as well. You can do those two things, but you have to manually turn those on. Assign it to your classes here. There's your, or individual students or groups. And you guys can create groups under manage students, and I'll show you guys that before we're done. So that's how you customize a lesson. You chop it down, and there's the link that you're going to embed into Canvas or Google Classroom. And the instructions on how to do that are underneath that question mark. You can see all of those instructions there. So the last thing I want to show you as it comes to the end of our time right here is groups. All you have to do is click on Manage Students, click on Groups, and you can create a new student group. See, I've got my ELLs, my extended time, my GT students, my regular ed, and my retesters. So you can create those groups very simply and add students from your existing classes into those groups. All right, I just crammed a whole lot of information at the very end for you guys. If it gets overwhelming, I'm going to give you guys my contact info right here, jason@socialstudies.com. And I'm even going to give you my cell phone. If you have a quick question, you can even text me. I'm totally fine with that. 9244. So there's my cell phone as well. So email me, text me, call me. It's in the chat box there. I'll stick around in case you guys have any other questions, but if not, we're at the end of our session. Sorry, I ran 1 minute over. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And I'm going to stop the recording and answer any questions you guys might have.